Yes, and if I click yes, Mhm.
And there we are. Zulma Gonzalez, this mic is all yours.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lynn. My gosh, where have you guys been for the last 2 weeks? I haven't seen you. Actually, um, I took the week off. I took last Thursday off. Um, I'm told that I don't look a day over 67 and 373 days. So I'm a week into 68. I'm liking the way it feels. It's kind of pretty good. It's pretty good. I actually started out by celebrating the last day of my 67th birthday. I went to the beach, and I do that. I celebrate the last day. I mean, you figure I've been there for 360 some odd days. The least I can do is give it a fond farewell. Um, Went to the beach, Ocean City, New Jersey, had a great time. Um, I trick people every year. Every year, I'll say to somebody, for example, I said, "Oh, I'm 67 years old today." And they say, "Oh, today's your birthday." I said, "No, tomorrow's my birthday, but I'm 67 years old today." I do this every year. Anyway, so I had a great time. I had a good time. Went to breakfast on Thursday, had cake. I got my cake. It wasn't until 7 o'clock in the evening. I was getting a little nervous because, I have to have cake on my birthday. My life depends on it. And I can't be the one to provide it. So someone provided me cake on my birthday. It was good and balloons and the whole bit. And my baby girl took me to a really nice restaurant called Mama Juana. Um, it's a very upscale, beautiful place. Food was delicious. That was on Sunday, and then I went to a jazz concert free at Wiggins Park in Camden on Monday, and I'm still celebrating. Every day that I wake up is a celebration day, and I'm grateful for that. And whatever day I don't wake up, that's going to be a celebration day too. There's a passage in the Bible that reads, "To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord," whatever that means. And then somewhere else it says, whether we're in the body or not, we're still with the Lord. Of course, if it's all one, it's always one. It's going to be one. I don't know who this driving person is. Yes, you. Hi, um, person who says iPhone. Yes, you.
That's Miss Cher Murphy.
I don't know her. Hi, I'm Zulma. Great to meet you. Great to meet you.
Sh-
Look
I'm
forward to
sure you
hearing
know
you.
Miss Cher from years ago. She taught here on Gather for many years, several years, but you never saw her face.
Never saw her. Exactly, exactly. So, welcome to your face. Welcome to our faces. Great to see you. Great to meet you. Um, and so let me say good morning to Mickey and Sharon and Dove and Sharon, us and wait a somebody else. There's somebody else. And you, of course, Lynn. Um, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to be here. I have missed you all. I've been actually listening in on the radio, on the streaming radio because I came into Pal Talk yesterday. I was at work, and where I work, their Wi-Fi is absolutely horrendous. They don't have any Wi-Fi. They have no password for me. I'm still, I'm still working on that. So every now and then I'll have to literally go outside. But I was listening on the radio on the way to work yesterday. Um, got a chance to hear Ken Wapnick's teachings and stuff. It was early on. Prudence was on, and she played a couple of songs. She played a song by Della Reese that sounded like a man to me. Um, I don't know why. And now I don't remember the name of the song, but I certainly would like to know what that song was. I will be with you or something like that because she played it right after who who walks with me. She played it right after that, and I don't know what that song is. Um, in any event, that has anything and everything and nothing to do with why I'm here today. I am here because I love you. That's why I'm here today. Um, and I am here to talk about A Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. Um, oh, this is supposed to be in, I thought it was in slideshow mode. Let's try that again. A Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other life. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see what happens. All right. So, Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. We don't limit ourselves to anything. There is no limit. There is no limit because it's all God. There is no limit. Egyptian Proverbs, a reminder that the kingdom of heaven is within you. The Course teaches that the kingdom of God is you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. And the Course does say to us that the goal of the Course, regardless, is to know ourselves. Well, all right, all right. As always, our reminders to mind your mind. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. I've discovered that Dr. Ernest Holmes says the exact same thing on page 29. I'm going to change that. He says it again on page 123. And what's wonderful about these teachings is that they keep repeating themselves. They keep, oh, you didn't get it the first time? All right, maybe you'll get it the 300th time. It keeps telling us the same thing over and over and over and over again. It takes us quite a while because we're in the habit. I mean, considering I've been on the planet for 368 and 7 days. Um, but that was 1956. I didn't start studying the course until 1992. I didn't start studying religious science until 2012. So I had all these old habits, these old bad habits, all this pain that I had been, this baggage that I had been carrying along with me. And I'm being given the gift. I've been given the gift of learning how to think better, of learning how to think better so I can learn how to live better. Um, And by the way, for those of you who are aware, and for those who aren't, I had mentioned the fact that I have unofficially diagnosed ADHD, but every single assessment test that I've taken online, every single one says, "Yep, you've got it. Yep, you got it." And at 12 noon today, Eastern time, I will have my first therapy session. I'm excited. It'll be a televisit, and I'm very, 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 very excited because I want to learn how to think better and I want to learn how to live better. And and I'm talking about on this plane because we know that in truth it's already all right. And I'm thinking and that I am perfect. And perfect, I understand to mean whole. It's complete. There's nothing, it is exactly the way it's supposed to be, regardless of whether I like it or whether I don't, or whether they call my brain neurodivergent or what have you. Um, to learn how to think is to learn how to live. We're reminded from the course that this is a course in mind training. All these metaphysical courses are courses in mind training. These teachings are courses in mind training. And all learning involves attention and study at some level. Why? Because an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. We can walk about, people, they walk about and they're talking loud and saying nothing. We see that all the time, talking loud and saying nothing. I saw a quote yesterday and uh, kind of reworded it. Well, no, actually, it said something that weak words mean nothing, that actions are everything. And they go together because you can say whatever you want, but truth be told, and truth be told, on this plane, what you see is, and I can say I don't want to drink out of this orange cup. I can say that all I want as I'm sipping on the orange cup. Well, what you see is really what you get. All right, an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. Ernest Holmes writes that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. Since it is impossible to stop thinking, we cannot stop creating. Our choice is whether we shall create constructively or destructively. The Course teaches that we make destructively, we create constructively. So our choice is whether we shall create constructively or make destructively. And William Walker Atkinson reminds us that the mental pattern must always precede the material form. The Course backs that up with all thinking produces form at some level. Oh, skipped one. Um, Still reminding us to mind our mind. You need to learn how to select your thoughts just the same way you select your clothes every day. This is a power you can cultivate. We need to practice, practice, practice. We can't, can't just, it doesn't just come in an instant. Oh, for some, you have that aha moment, and from that point forward. But until you have that aha moment, it's a practice, practice, practice. I don't believe in fake it till you make it, because if I'm faking it, I'm a fake. And it's my desire, it is my goal, it is my need to be in integrity as much as possible. Otherwise, as Ralph Waldo Emerson says, imitation is suicide. I'm killing off who I really am in form. I'm killing off who I really am, and not allowing myself to be who and what I truly am. And we're reminded in the course that every response we make is determined by what we think we are, and what we want to be must determine every response we make. So I have to do it in integrity. Otherwise, it just won't work for me. Elizabeth Gilbert continues, this is a power you can cultivate. If you want to control things in your life so bad, work on the mind. That's the only thing you should be trying to control. And lastly, from Ernest Holmes, a trained thought is far more powerful than untrained, and the one who gives conscious power to his thought should be more careful what he thinks than the one who does not. Because we realize, as we learn, that thoughts are things. The Course teaches that all thought produces form at some level. We have to be conscious of what we think. Reminded that sleep of forgetfulness is only the unwillingness to remember. That the habit of engaging with God is easy if we actively refuse to let our minds slip away. And this is something I probably say it every week because I have to keep practicing, practicing, practicing the same thing myself. All right. From the Course, I love this passage. It said this quote, it says, begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. And that for me corresponds to the section in 30th chapter 30 in the rules for decision. We get to choose what kind of day we want. What do I want? What do I really, really want? Because we rattle off things. Yeah, I want this. Yeah, I want that. There's a passage in the Course that says, I want the peace of God. Oh yeah. We all say, well, I want the peace of God. But it goes on to say these words is nothing, but to mean them is everything. Say what you want. Say what you want. But then let your actions back it up. Back it up. It's written in the Bible, if ye know these things, happy are ye if you do them. You can talk a good game and don't know what to say. Poem I wrote. It says you were always able to talk a good game. You just didn't know how to play it. Mm, mm. So talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Before I go any further, all right. So our theme for my theme today is uh-oh, there we go. It's going to be mind, thought, and choice. But before I go any further, I have a laugh, and I don't know if Regis is listening. I did send him this is in WhatsApp as on his birthday, which is the day after mine, because it's leap year. Regis is always talking about workbook lesson 235, 235, and that's his birthday lesson. Well, Dove already knows that in leap year you get two. Well, in leap year, I get Regis's lesson. I get 235 as mine. Mine is 234, and August 22nd is 234, and August 23rd is 235. And this year, because it was leap year, 235 was mine, according to the Foundation for Inner Peace's um, uh, ACIM, A Course in Miracles, the digital. And I smiled at that because I had to send Regis a note to mention it. I had to. I don't know if he's listening or not, but he may or may not hear this recording. Uh, anyway, so today we're talking mind, thought, and choice. And I've taken a totally different approach. I was online looking for quotes, and what I found was a website about with music. And the website one is called 100 Best Songs About the Mind. And from that website, on that website, it asks the question, what does the mind convey? And here we have perception, memory, thinking, reasoning, sensation, emotion, motivation, belief, and desire. Now, we as course students know that the capital M mind has nothing to do with perception. The capital M mind is the mind of God. It has nothing to do with perception because it knows. And perception is always wondering if, thinking maybe, hoping possibly. The mind of God knows. There's no question. There's no, uh, wondering. There's no um, uh, fantasizing. There's none of that. The mind of God knows. So, but this is what comes off that website: 100 best songs about the mind, and two of those songs are titled "Heaven on My Mind" and "Free Your Mind." "Heaven on My Mind" by Becky Hall and "Free Your Mind" by En Vogue. And if you go to that website, you'll see the other 98 listed. From that same website, it says the mind conveys a broad spectrum of perspectives and capacities that define the mental state. How the relation between body and mind is conceived is strongly influenced by the choice of perception. Well, wow, we know that already. We know that. We know that this body came from our perception. Our perception, our belief with lie in the middle, our belief that we could be separate from God. So we made up this ego thing, which isn't real, so that we can make this body, which isn't real, and live this physical life, which isn't real. Perception. So how the relation between body and mind is conceived is strongly influenced by the choice of perception. In songs, the word mind is used in creative ways to convey a message or concept, often associated metaphorically with the stream of consciousness that describe how the confluence, that is, the union of sense impressions or thoughts, constantly change. Singers and songwriters showcase thoughts through a sequence of events that bring to life emotion. Now, they're saying song, but isn't that what we do? I think a thought and then I feel a feeling. I can't feel anything until I've thought something. And my thoughts, which are just minuscules of what I think is reality, bring these feelings, these minuscules of feeling, and then I act accordingly because all thought produces form at some level. And then I turn around and act accordingly. And if I'm acting based on something that makes absolutely, well, something that I've made up, then the course teaches tells us that what I'm doing is basically um, acting and not knowing what I do. Clueless. I don't know what I'm doing. And I think I know. I want to believe I know, and therefore I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about it because I'm walking around. I know, I know, I know. I'm trying to be right. I'm forgetting that that's not my choice. Back to that sleep of forgetfulness. I'm forgetting to engage with God. I am thinking that what's in front of me is the truth. Oh, oh, oh. It's written 727 times in the Bible that all things come to pass. They don't come to stay, they come to pass. And we forget, and we forget. We see this thing in front of us and we freak out. We hear about this stuff that's going on television, and in the news, and we freak out. I so you all know that I generally don't. I always said I don't watch the news, but where bye, oh hi, um, but where I work part time, I mentioned I'm a caregiver, and where I work part time, they have the television. ABC is on when I get there. ABC is on when I leave, and there are no breaks. I finally had to figure out to bring some earplugs or some noise canceling something so that I can block things out because I would sit there with my computer in front of me. The day would come and the day would go, and I found that I had accomplished nothing. I kept looking toward the TV and looking toward the TV. Anyway, um, so I'm figuring it out, and with this ADHD brain, accepting divine healing daily brain, ADHD at accepting divine healing daily brain. To anything catch my attention, and whatever I'm doing, it's gone. So I find myself watching a lot more television. I find myself knowing what's going on in the news. And very, very seldom do they put something on that's uplifting. Although they have these food shows, they're good. Not food shows. Good Morning America they have a lot of chefs coming on, and that's one of the most fun parts of my day is watching the chefs. All right. So anyway, uh, to continue. So in that same section, what does your mind symbolize? The mind is symbolic characteristics that represent thoughts through dualism and idealism. Now, this is saying mind. It has a capital M because that's just the title of it. But we're talking about the small m mind. We're talking about the my little mind and your little mind. This little light of mine, this little light of yours. Not the big light. The small m mind, symbolic of characteristics that represent thoughts through dualism and idealism. Although influential theories about the mind exist, the set of mental faculties associated with the mind are best understood through thinking, perception, and reasoning. Now, when I saw that word reasoning, it made me think about that I didn't look at in any detail, that I didn't look at all. The section about, reason in the course. Reason tells us this makes sense. Follow this course, do only this. Reason tells us that. But this whole perception thing, this whole wondering thing, this whole fantasizing thing, it takes us into the rabbit hole. Aha, Alice in Wonderland. I know that now. Takes us into the rabbit hole. And okay, so mind as a symbol can symbolize weakness, the senses, intelligence, memory, philosophy, consciousness, computation, which to me is like analyzing and stuff. That's ego work. Power, intuition, pain, imagination, thoughts, cognition, and mental state. Now, of this group, for me, intelligence, power, and intuition refer to the capital M mind. For me, you may see it differently. You may see it differently. But for me, intelligence, Dr. Ernest Holmes says that we all draw from this one divine, capital D, intelligence, capital I. And the course tells us that ideas don't leave their source. So that's the connection that I make with that. I was really, fascinated with, finding this stuff on a website about music. I thought it was kind of cool, actually. All right. So, um, from Emmett Fox, from the Mental Equivalent, he writes, the law of mind is that you can only get rid of one thought by substituting another. And this is key. This is key. Workbook lesson 7 in the course tells us that miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. This is where the atonement principle, atoning meaning to undo, to atone comes in. I can't let myself express the light that I am if I have these grievances holding me back, all this grief holding me back, blocking the view, just one big dirt spot that's keeping me from seeing things as they really are, from letting myself be who I really am, because I am love. We are love. We are love. We are always love. And so is everyone else. But the key there is to look beyond the body and see and substitute the one thought for the other. Substitute that body for sinlessness. I love that. I absolutely love that. And with practice, 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 it becomes easier and easier and easier. Dr. Ernest Holmes teaches us that healing and demonstration take place as our minds become attuned to the truth of being with a capital B. That is, and Joel Goldsmith backs that up, what we are. We are one with God. And because we are one with God, we have the ability to reason from the God mind, from the God source, from the God consciousness. Susan Michelle calls it plugging into that. What is it? That God, what she call it? Basically, that we're plugging in, and all of a sudden, I can't remember her exact
Socket.
God socket. Thank you. I couldn't. You knew it was right there. The God socket, plugging into the God socket. Yeah, thanks for that, Lynn. Appreciate it. Um, oh man, I was listening to a little bit of Susan yesterday too. Streaming is a good thing. That's about it's the best I can do to some extent because it won't let me on a lot of the time. But anyhow, um, that bothers me, particularly on Fridays when I want to be here for um, practicing the presence and for the Gold Joel Smith teachings. Uh, and it bothers me that I can't, I'm going to see if I can stream that tomorrow. I'm going to give that a shot and see if it works. And if not, I may just have to go outside for a while, stand around outside. But
We will not be on tomorrow because I'm going to Scotland.
I know you're going to Scotland. That part I know. Oh, all right. So not tomorrow. All right. All right. I can go listen to an old recording. Then I go to YouTube. um, You have, Lynn, you have a wonderful, let me get that out the way right now. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful time. How long will you be gone?
I will be gone until the 7th, so a whole full week. So I'm gonna have a
Wonderful,
great
wonderful.
time.
I know you are. I know you are. I
I'm
got you
very
right here. I have
excited.
it written. Yeah, you should be. You should be. Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing pictures. Maybe you'll throw a few on Facebook and whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing photos. So make sure I get to see some photos. I'd
Oh,
appreciate it.
you will.
All righty. All right. So, Ernest Holmes, healing and demonstration take place as our minds become attuned to the truth of being. Now, this is important. There is no process of healing, but there is generally a process in healing. And the reason why there's no process of healing is because there is nothing to be healed. We're we are not this body. We are free. I'm still as God created me. You are still as God created you. I am not this body. Spirit, the Course reminds us, is in a state of grace forever, forever. And our reality is only spirit. That's what's real. That's what can't be threatened. That's what exists. All this other stuff is temporary. It comes and goes. But there's a process in healing because we think it takes time. We invented time, so we have to deal with time. So there's a process in healing. It takes time for us to get it, for us to realize it, to have that revelation, to get that aha moment, to begin to realize that we can do this differently, to realize that we don't have to do it the way we did it yesterday, that we don't have to make ourselves miserable again and attempt to blame somebody else for it, that we can stop blaming others for what we think, that we can stop blaming others for what we feel, that we can stop blaming others for what we do. This process, Dr. Holmes continues, is the time and effort which we undergo in our realizations of capital T truth. There is no process of healing. There's nothing to heal. We go out, we were out here. I mean, in the course, it tells us that we're here to be truly helpful, but it doesn't say that I'm out here to heal anybody. I can't heal anybody. Uh-uh. There's nothing to be healed. Dr. Holmes says only the truth to be revealed. There is nothing to be healed, only the truth to be revealed. That's so key. That's so key. All right. Mind in songs. George Harrison, I got my mind set on you. The behavioral changes the mental state of a person brings is exquisitely showcased in songs about reality. Songs bring to life how a stressful or traumatic event brings about a negative change in people. Now, how about that? How about that? I I I feel the pain and I spew it out onto whomever, the person that I think is responsible for it. I had an experience when I was a child and I didn't choose to leave that back there in the past. I'm choosing to bring that trauma into the present and act out accordingly. I had a situation that occurred, some event that I didn't like, what have you, and it happened already. But here I am today, using that stress to bring about negative change, that brings about a negative change in me. Um, I'm letting what was affect what is. We're reminded we're never upset for the reason we think. We're never upset for the reason we think. We're upset because we see something that's not there. We're upset because we see only the past. We're upset because we're thinking. We're not upset for the reason we think. We're upset because we're thinking in the first place. Thinking and not knowing. We're believing, we're wishing, we're hoping, we're fantasizing, we're living in a time in time we're in a non-real world, a world that doesn't even exist, a world that's not even here. Oh my God. Look at what we're doing to ourselves. We're making ourselves crazy. Lost in My Mind, a song by Rufus Du Sol. I don't know who Rufus Du Sol is, but I like the titles of these songs, so I had to use them. I had to bring them up. Frail State of Mind by the 175, by the 1975. I thought that was a cool. I thought, was that the year? No, that's the name of the group, which may have come out in 1975. I don't know. They may have been born in 75. Frail State of Mind, regardless of what that is. Change your mind, Keith Urban says. Lindy, I see your hand. Go ahead. Lindy?
Hi, Zulma. How are you?
I'm well and wonderful. How are you?
I'm just excellent. Thank you. I wanted to mention a song because of what you're saying. There's a song, if you like to listen to it or anyone on the Zoom meeting would like to download it, it's called Let Your Light Shine because we are the light of the world
Okay.
or we are light in the earth. Some of the words in this song, and I love it. When I found it, I just loved it, and I can't stop playing it. It says, "Let your light shine. Um, let us not fail Yah anymore. they are referring to the creator of all, because we are all family and friends. And
Yes.
we are all really one under the
Yes.
sun.
Yes.
It's a beautiful song, and I just wanted to mention that if you were interested in looking it up.
Long story short, I think inferencing will be
Oh,
bigger
wait a
than
minute.
some question I have read.
Dove, please mute. Never mind. Maybe I can mute you. Let's see if I can do it.
But
Cannot. Lynn, would you please mute Dove? Thank you. Go ahead, Lindy. You were saying.
Just check it out. I just wanted
Okay.
to check.
If you would put the title and the artist in the chat, and I'll see that later. Thank you.
Okay, and it's a great song. It just it's reminding me of what you're talking about and how music can really lift the soul and or the and really lift the spirit and put the ego in check.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I just I looked into the chat. I saw Glorian. Glorian, hi. I don't know where you are. I don't see you here. Wait a minute. There she is. Okay, because I had this in
Good
small
morning.
mode, so I couldn't see it. I see you. Hi, my love. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you? I love what Lindy just shared, if I can jump in.
Please
Song
go
is
ahead.
just so perfect, and it brings us into that mindful awareness of presence. So I love songs too, and thanks for sharing that, Lindy.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, music. There's a song, an old ditty that goes, "All things shall perish from under the sky. Music alone shall live, music alone shall live, music alone shall live, never to die." Now I heard that when in elementary school. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but music then becomes the light of the world. It can't die. It can't die. It's just life is just a song. Life is a song. And the course talks about that too, as a matter of fact. All right. So another song. Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z featuring Alicia Keys. And with that, I Changed My Mind by Keisha Coles. So it started out as being lost in my mind, and a frail state of mind sets our mind on you, capital YU. That was supposed to be the last one to come up. Apparently, I didn't hit the animation button on that, so it came up first. So we start with that. Our mind, whether we are conscious of it or not, is always set on the creator, is always set on God, because God is all there is. We are part of, ideas don't leave their source, and our mind and God's mind are one. So let's see. From the Bible, we're going into thoughts now. From the New King James Version. Oh, lovable, what's going on, baby boy? Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Now, the word meditate, that really opens up something for me, because the fact is that there are moments when my thoughts are anything but pure, that my thoughts are not lovely, moments when my thoughts are not of good report. Oh, I'm ready to talk about somebody even right now. Somebody who's telling me one thing and doing another. And I can't tell you how that feels to me. You can hear it in my voice, though. I'm not, I, I have to remind myself, that regardless of what is in front of me, regardless of what condition or experience is in front of me, that is all temporary, that is not real, and that only the truth is true. And that, like everything else, shall pass. Oh, but in the moment, in the moment, which is why it says to meditate on these things. So to take time to just stop. I wear a bracelet that says be still and know. That's all it says is be still and know. And it's only in the being still that I can remember and know that God is all there is. That it is for me to see the individual as sinless and not to see them as an individual. There you go. And I need to say that out loud. I needed to say that out loud. Yeah, just to get that off. I was actually having a hard time because something came up yesterday evening. I was, putting this together, and I was having feelings, and I said, "Oh no, I can't, I can't do this with these feelings. Can't do this with these feelings because for me, my integrity is too important, and I say that all the time. I cannot, unless I need to talk about it, I can't come here with with all this loveliness, with this truth, with what's noble and what's pure and of good report and with this virtuous stuff and this praiseworthy stuff. If I'm not feeling it, I can't. And you all know that. You've heard me come here and I've had to speak slowly. I've had to speak through some things. Um, and I appreciate you, family. And I do. Um, anyway, in the chat it says here, Glorian wrote, honesty is consistency. Yes, we do our best. When we make a faulty choice, we choose again. And isn't that wonderful? Back to the very beginning, that we have the ability to make choices. We have the ability to make choices. That is a wonderful thing. All right, let's move on here. Louise Cowley wrote, your mind can only be renewed by changing your thoughts, which means thinking from new ideas. Changing our thoughts. This is where the atonement principle, we get to undo the old stuff and this is where miracle principle number 7 comes in. Purification is necessary first. The new idea, that's the purified thought. The new idea. And this is from Master the Mind, from the teachings of Neville Goddard. So Louise Cowley is actually talking about Neville Goddard's work. One of the great metaphysicians, who I don't hear enough about. I think I'm going to have to bring a little more of Neville Goddard in, because he shares in the teachings that we've all come to know and love so well, and has a great deal to say about it. He does not. Well, you know what? Nope, it has nothing to do with anything today. I'll leave that alone. So anyway, Neville Goddard. So Lindy did put in the chat the song "Let Your Light Shine" by Master KG. Thank you. Thank you. And she put the link in the chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So there's this circle of control and the stuff I can't control. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more. Talking about what I can control. I'm talking about my thoughts and my choices here. I can control, and I'm bringing the whole list up at once. But I didn't want to take too long in case I went into overtime. I didn't want to go into overtime today. I can control the choices I make. I can control my response. I can control taking care of myself. I can control my actions. I can control where I direct my energy. I can control my attitude, my effort. I can control that. I can control my beliefs, or initially, yeah, I can control what I believe, and my beliefs lead to, this is where I get to choose back and forth that this works, this doesn't work, and ultimately come to knowledge and the ability to dismiss the belief itself, but to come to know. I can control my opinions, even though they're temporary. My thoughts don't mean a darn thing. My thoughts don't mean anything except the meaning that I give them. My thoughts may not mean anything to you, and if you give my thoughts meaning, be they the ones that make you feel good or the ones that don't, that you let make you feel good or the ones that you let not make you feel good, and you give them meaning, and you can't blame me for what you're feeling. Because we're not talking about what you can't control. We're talking about what you can control. Because we can control our choices, our responses. I can control my words. I don't have to, just because you decide to go into a space of yelling and screaming doesn't mean I have to go there with you. Just because you decide that you want to you want to call my body names and you want to talk about my body in ways that my body doesn't like, doesn't mean that I have to go there with you. I can control asking for help. Holy Spirit, I need you now. I need you now. I call on spirit in a minute. Spirit, spirit, spirit. Where are my keys? Oh, that's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. I swear. Accepting divine healing daily. Used to tease me at work about that. Zulma, do you know where your keys are? I can control learning from mistakes. I can control that. Oh, Sharon, you have no clue. Thank you for the laughter. But yeah, I used to get teased a lot. To the point where I had to laugh because I was always missing. It's always something, or I was being paged to the office. Oh my God, what did I do? I left my phone in the office and didn't even realize that I had set the phone down somewhere. No, not left it in the office. I left it somewhere. Didn't even realize that my phone was in the office, and that's why I have my own photo as the when you open the screen. If you can open the screen, it's my photo, so that's so that people know this is Zulma's phone. It's Zulma's phone. She did it again. And that's fine. That's so fine. I've learned to laugh. I've learned to laugh. Gotta laugh. Gotta laugh at all these things that the body does. The body is going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Mistakes are for correction and nothing more. Choice. Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., son of the author of the Four Agreements, his son, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. By the way, the Don, D-O-N, is not a name, it's a title. You know, in The Godfather, remember the movie The Godfather, the Don? His name wasn't Don, that was his title. It's actually pronounced Don. So it's a title. So you'll always see that it with a small d, not a capital, because his name is not Don, it's Don. And in Spanish, you have in the male is the Don, and the female is the Doña, which, by the way, is what my baby girl calls me. She calls me Doña. And I used to uh, call my mother Doña Mami. And Doña basically means it's just the highest form of Mr. or Miss, Mrs. That you can call someone. It's the highest form, if you will, as opposed to just Señora. Anyway, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. Figure throw aside, throw that in. He writes, take a moment to look back over your life. From his book, The Mastery of Self, a Toltec Guide to Personal Freedom, take a moment to look back over your life. What are some ideas that were instilled in you as a child that you later discarded as no longer true for you? These ideas could be about any number of areas. And became a thing for me not so very long ago, because in fact, not very long ago, because when I look at things that were instilled in me, particularly by my mother, because daddy died when I was 10, and the things that he instilled were things that make me smile, and some of the things that he taught me. But again, I was 10. I don't know. I can't speak for what it would have been later, because um, he was a very willful person, and so was I. So we probably would have butt heads until he would have knocked me in my head. But anyway, but mommy was there. Mommy was there right up until I was 58 years old. So 57. I was 57 years old, and so a lot of what I learned along the way, I learned from mom. And in early years, I used to rebel, and I'd rebel and rebel. And some of those things that I rebelled about, I still recognize the things that are no longer true for me, things that I actually had to discard. And I found myself recently getting angry with mommy, or of course it wasn't with mommy, but angry about some of the things that I was taught, that were instilled in me, if you will, or things that I'm learning today about the way this the way I function, um that wasn't recognized back then. And I had the audacity to get angry with mommy for not knowing. And then I had and the problem with that is, as you know, mommy became my best friend. Mommy was my best friend when she made her transition. So then I was feeling like, wait a minute, I shouldn't on myself. I shouldn't feel this way about mommy. After all, she was my best friend. After all, that was the first thought. And then it came, really came to light that the reason why it doesn't make sense for me to feel that way, she didn't know what she didn't know. And she acted accordingly. And she acted accordingly. And there were things that I was able to figure out that mommy didn't agree with. So we butt heads. But there's no reason for me to be angry with my mother. First of all, it's not my mother that I'd be angry with. I'd be angry with my own thoughts about what I thought should have been. And these are just things that were just passing through in the last few days. The miracle is my right, but purification is necessary first. I have to look at it. And here's where he continues. He says, the point here isn't to judge or become resentful of those who initially domesticated you to those ideas, but rather to see where domestication occurred and how you broke free. Yay, I am not a body. I am free. And I know that today. Once upon a time, I didn't. My mother is not a body. She is free. And today I know that. And once upon a time, I didn't. Mommy and I are one. It's all one. It's all God. It's all one. Just one. The Lord our God is one, is the way it's written in the Bible. One, one, one. 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 Ah. Be noticing, rather, by noticing where you have already spotted and released domestication in your life. That is, where we've already purified our minds, where we've already accepted the miracle, we've accepted the atonement for ourselves. And by noticing where you have already spotted and released, that's the only reason to look back, so that you can let it go. Not thinking that you can forgive the past. The Course makes it very clear how, except in fantasy, can you change the past. You can't. You can't. So you're not looking at it for the sake of forgiving back there, because whatever I think is back there is what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking now about what was back there. I'm saying, oh, the past is hurting me. No, it's not. There is no past. The Son of God is free. There is no past. We're free. There is no back there. I have to throw this in. I had an opportunity to give a talk with the Pentecostal group that that invite me to every event since 2018 because they say I present in a way that everyone can relate to. Well, yeah, that's the goal. Trying to get to see the oneness there. Let's get to see the oneness. And I said that God is not in the past, nor is he in the future. That God is now. Someone else came up and attempted to contradict that with a passage from the Bible that says it's the same, God is the same God yesterday, today, and tomorrow, which is not saying the same thing. It's not saying that God is in yesterday, and it's not saying that God is in tomorrow, although it seems to be interpreted that way. God is not in the past because there is no past. This breath that I'm taking now is not in the past. It's now. 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 It's always now. In truth, in spirit and in truth is always now. Spirit and truth are always now. So the passage in the Bible says that God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, the same as something to that effect. But it's not saying that God is in yesterday, nor is it saying that God is in tomorrow, because every moment is now. So I said again that God is not in the past nor in the future. And I got a couple of looks because those who know that passage about yesterday, today, and tomorrow think that it says that that's where God is. I just wanted to throw that in. Overall, the talk went over quite well. I said a couple of things. I said a couple of things uh, people inhaled, and then I paused intentionally and gave them the exhale, and they exhaled. It works out wonderfully. In fact, I've been invited to something else that I'm unable to attend, but I've got an invitation to something else. Anyway, by noticing where you have already spotted and released domestication in your life, you prove to yourself that you have all the power you need inside, thank you, God, to break free again and again. I see it, I overlook. I see something else, I overlook. To forgive, to overlook. Holy instant, yes, Glorian, the holy instant. Now, 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 and any instant is the holy instant if we want it to be. Come on, Gloria.
Love that, Zulma. And that recognition that what you were saying is there really isn't any linear time, that there's only this moment. So God is everywhere now. I am everywhere, and everywhere is here now. Thanks.
Yes, yes. And it's always now. And that's the key. It's always now. I can't be in the moment that I was a minute ago, a second ago. It's only now. There's only now. And being willing to unhinge, unleash the tether from the past makes all things new. It makes all things new. Makes all things beautiful and free and all things now. Now is new. Now is always new. So I can't judge you based on yesterday. And I have to remind myself, because like I said, I've got a situation going on, and it's going to be occurring, it's going to be conversation later on today. And I have to remember, not about them, but about me. And that there is no them, that it's only me projecting my thoughts of anger, my thoughts of how I think something should be, or because you said you were going to do this and now you didn't, and I expected, oops, more illusion. I expected you to honor your word because I've made such a big deal of your word. It's all me. It's all me. Anyway, I'm proving to myself that I have all the power I need inside. I have all the God I need, that I am one with the Father, and that I can break free again and again, that there is nothing to hold me. But the course does remind us that in number 20, in the manual for teachers, number 26, that we're not here to be free of stuff. We're here to work it out. It doesn't say it that way. I'll tell you exactly how it says that. Mhm. In number 26 of the manual for teachers, it reads in the fourth paragraph under "Can God be reached directly?" It says, "Do not despair then because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them." And see, it's like me talking to somebody. I was talking to a person who's a nicotine addict, and they said, "Well, I'm just going to tell myself that quitting is easy." I said, "Well, then you're in trouble." Said, I don't know any person who has gone through the withdrawal of nicotine addiction and not, or in fact, was addicted. It was a habit for them that didn't have to go through some mental changes and some emotional changes to get on the other side, breaking free again, again, and again, breaking free, deciding I just because I want to smoke doesn't mean I have to smoke. I'm not a chimney. I don't smoke all the time. Yeah, you're going to go through stuff. So you could tell yourself it's going to be easy and you'll end up right where you are again, smoking again. No, give yourself the grace to know that there's going to be some stuff you have to go through with it. And you will, and you'll be prepared when it comes, because you'll be already talking to yourself. In the Bible, they call it something like putting on the full armor of God, where you gird up and you're ready. There's that urge. I'm going to let it pass, remembering that I get urges whether I smoke or whether I don't. But the less I smoke, the less urges I come. Miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. That purification is necessary first. And you have to do the work. An untrained mind accomplishes nothing. 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 We need to know these things. So do not despair then because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. How can I say that I am here to be truly helpful if I have no tools, if you will? I'm not recognizing and realizing that the God in me, the God in you, the God self that I am, the Christ consciousness that I have, the Christ consciousness that I know that you have, whether you expect it, whether you accept it, whether you use it, whatever. But it's not about you. It's about me and how I choose to view, how I see things. Am I seeing with remembering that God is in my mind, or am I trying to see through the eye of the temporary, of the painful? All right, from 74 Songs About Choice, we're life-changing choices. It says, you and I are travelers on this epic life journey, and behind each of us, we schlepp the totality of our choices, lugging them like baggage. Here we go, through an international airport. Some say there are no accidents or happenstance, only choices. From the minuscule to the monumental, we are each a combination of our history of decisions. Both large and small choices have the capacity to change your life trajectory. It's so good that I have choice. It's so good that, we have that section called Rules for Decision. It's so good to know that I can choose what kind of day I want, what kind of hour I want, what kind of minute I want, what kind of second I want, how I want to think. I can choose that. I don't always choose to choose that, but the choice is there. It's available to me. The song Check Yes or No by George Strait. I thought this is cute. Sweet Emmylou Hayes popped a kiss on a classmate while riding the school bus together. They played chase on the playground, and because love works fast when you're young, the girl passed him a love note in class. Do you love me? Do you want to be my friend? And if you do, well, then don't be afraid to take me by the hand if you want to. I think this is how love goes. Check yes or no. Choices. Making choices. I thought that was so cute. Making choices. We always have a choice. We always have a choice. Okay. Another song, Life-Changing Choices. The song is My Head and My Heart by Ava Max. And the information given us in the song is the girl in this 2020 electro pop hit is having trouble deciding whether to listen to her heart or her head. Oh, do we not wonder, will I choose this? Do I make the decision for the ego or do I make the decision for the Holy Spirit? They're a decision. The Course teaches us the ego, like the Holy Spirit, is a decision. She's having trouble deciding whether to listen to the Holy Spirit or to listen to the ego. Her partner has held her hand through difficult personal troubles, and her grateful heart tells her this is love. However, there's an inner voice that is urging her to run from this relationship. Could it be her inner angels trying to protect her? The conflicting messages are creating confusion and mental anguish. She knows she has to make a choice. Now, in the Course, I like that. In the Course, we're taught that if we're in conflict, that we already know. We already know. We're trying to decide whether to do what we know is best for us or that other thing, whatever that other thing is. There's a part of us that wants to do that other thing, but knows it's a matter of whose report do you believe? Do I call on the unreal the unreal ego? Do I call on the unreal ego and put myself in jeopardy and in pain? Or do I call on the Holy Spirit for the help and see some people, and I've heard it said here, they know that they ought to really that they can that the thing they ought to do, they know that they can ask the Spirit for the help and choose not to in that moment because we want to be, I want to be in the muck and the mire in that moment. Choosing the sleep of forgetfulness. Let's just say the sleep of forgetfulness is only the unwillingness to remember God's forgiveness, remembering God's love. The sleep of forgetfulness, not engaging. So here you have to make a choice. She's confused and in mental anguish because the truth is she already knows the answer. She knows. But there's that part of her is saying, no, don't do that. And attempting to run from love, ouch. Or we think we can. Our attempt to escape from God, to separate from God, ouch. That's painful. She has to make a choice. Do I stick to reality? Do I stick with God? Do I stick with the truth? Do I stick with love? Do I extend? Do I give of myself and be truly helpful? Or do I walk around being upset for the reasons that I think that aren't true? Emmett Fox writes, a different idea. Talk about choice here. That is the key to the management of your mind. the management of your thinking, and therefore the management of your, and therefore the key to the management of your destiny. See, this whole thing about destiny, this whole fate thing, and that, our life is already, it's, now we understand, I understand that it's already over. I mean, this physical form that I'm living is not life. It's not real life with a capital L. It's not. It's an experience. What do we call it? Spiritual being having a physical a human experience. It's an experience. That this thing I call body is my communication device. It's not what I am. And when it has served its purpose, it'll be no more. All right. And so it is. But in the meantime, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to put on glasses to see. I'm going to bathe. I'm going to eat. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to pick up the phone and call people. I'm going to send text messages. I'm going to have exchanges with other bodies. Still knowing, though, that I'm spirit in truth, that you're spirit in truth, that if I want the peace, as written in the Bible, the peace of God that passes understanding, if I really want that, if I want the peace of God that I say I want, then I have to know, not wonder, not believe, not think, not hope. I have to know that I am not this body, that you are not this body, that this experience is just that. It's an experience, but it's temporary. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful. What else we have here? Mind and choice from the Bible. Choose for yourself this day whom you shall serve. Far be it from us that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods. The Lord, of course, being the all, the absolute, the truth. Something is moving on my chat screen. Is it really? Nope, there's nothing else there. All right. So let me click out of that. And from the course, the mind can elect what it chooses to serve. The only limit put on its choice is that it cannot serve two masters, which goes back to the passage from the Bible. Choose for yourself this day whom you shall serve. And it goes on. And then in the New Testament, it's written that Jesus says you cannot serve two masters. You can't. If it elects to do so, the mind can become the medium for which spirit creates along the line of its own creation. If it does not freely elect to do so, it retains its creative potential, but places itself under tyrannous rather than authoritative control. Tyranny, oh my God. As a result, it imprisons, because such are the dictates of tyrants. Oh my God, that's sounding like stuff that's going on out here. But to change your mind means to place it at the disposal of true authority, the true one. No separation, no conflict, no mistakes, no past, no hatred, no no nothingness. No nothingness. The truth is always true, and it can only be true. So, I talked about what I can control. Here's the circle of control and the circle of cannot. I cannot control other people's opinions. What you say and what you think is what you say and what you think. I have no control. I can't stop you from thinking whatever you want to think. And therefore, I can't stop you from saying whatever you want to say. I cannot control if others forgive me. It's not even necessary. I only have to forgive myself. I have to forgive myself for thinking that you have to forgive me. I have to forgive myself for thinking that you need forgiveness. I can only forgive myself. That I can control. I cannot control if others forgive me. I cannot control other people's mistakes. You know, I'm not in charge of yours. I'm in charge of mine. I can't, it's not my job to tell you you're wrong. No, it's not my job. It's not my job to try to fix you. That's me judging you, thinking you're supposed to be the way I think you should be. And there I go shooting again. I don't even, in the song Bernadette by the Four Tops, it says, how can they control you, Bernadette, when they can't even control themselves? Simple as that. I can't control what other people do, nor can I control how they feel. I can't control the weather. So last Wednesday, I was saying I went to the beach, and right up until a couple days prior, I was concerned that it was going to rain, and I had already called to say I was going to take the day off from work and all that. What a waste. And I finally, a couple days prior, I finally backed up off that thought and took my time and put together the stuff that I was going to take to the beach and was thinking about how much fun it was going to be. I started visualizing, the sunshine and the water and us on the beach and us in the sand and laughing and the seagulls and all that. And that's exactly what I got. I gave myself the grace to stop worrying about nothing. Worry is useless. Worry is future based and it's absolutely useless. All it does is cause pain. So I can't worry about the weather, the past, because there is none, what other people say, other people's beliefs, where I direct my energy. I can't control where I direct my energy. Isn't that interesting? Because it's going to come. I can't stop the thought from coming. That's a mistake. That's trying to do spiritual bypass. I can't control how I feel based on the thought. I can't control that. What I can control is how long I choose to hold on to it. The Course teaches the Holy Spirit doesn't say that you're not going to have these thoughts. The Holy Spirit is saying, don't hold on to them. I can't control what other people think. I can't control world events. I can't control other people's decisions. And trying to do any of that is going to make me crazy. I can't have peace that way. I cannot be in peace attempting to control what goes on in other people's worlds. From the Guide for Spiritual Living, and this might not be big enough for you to see, I don't know, but I'm going to read it anyway. The Guide for Spiritual Living is a Science of Mind magazine. A new decision, a new direction. Quote, Decision Determines Destiny by Frederick Speakman. Quote, the spirit within me makes all things new. I expect more prosperity, more happiness, more harmony than ever before. I walk in the joy of ever increasing good. By Ernest Holmes from the book This Thing Called You. What would you do if you discovered you were going in the wrong direction? Turn around and head the other way. Take a good look at your life. Which way are you going? Look at your financial, mental, physical, social, and spiritual well-being and see where you are. Are you experiencing joy, peace, and satisfaction? Don't settle for less. Are you headed in the right direction? If you happen to be traveling the wrong way, turn around as quickly as you can. Make that decision now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now is the time. Why? Because your decisions are dictating your direction. Your decisions are dictating your direction, and your direction is taking you to an ultimate destination, your life's purpose. A true decision moves you to action and shapes your destiny. Civil rights activist Rosa Parks said, my only concern was to get home after a hard day's work. Heartfelt, her driving concern moved her to make a decision, which prompted her to act. Her decision, this one act of civil disobedience, changed the course of her life and history forever. Do you need to make a decision that could possibly change the course of your life forever? Listen to that inner voice. It's telling you what to do and which way to go. Listen and believe. I'm going to say listen and know. Have the courage to follow it. Once the decision is made and acted on, your direction and life change immediately. Life takes on new meaning and new purpose. And that's by Reverend Arthur Johnson, published in the Science of Mind magazine initially in November 2018. And his affirmation is, I live my life by design rather than by default. Design rather than default. My inner guide emboldens me to make the to make the best and highest decisions for my life. Moving quickly now, we're coming out. Aha, here we go. Choice from Regis Reeves. This was on, he put this on Instagram, I believe, or YouTube or Facebook, one of them. He said, stop going through life shitting on people with your negativity and bitterness and blaming everyone but yourself for your sucky life. You and I do have a choice, whether to be neurotic or wise, harsh or gentle, blaming or forgiving. And the choice we make then determines not only who we will be in the world, but also the experiences we will have here. By our Regis. And with that, I am going to, oh, wait, there's something in the chat. Let's see what's in the chat. Let me find it quickly. Oh my God, you not like this, I hoped. I lost it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to speed this, move this up, hit the chat button, see what's there. Karen wrote, I can control the way I react. Exactly. I have a choice. That's my choice. I can't control what you do. I can't control what you say. I can't control any of that. What I can control ultimately is how I choose to react. Or do I react? Or do I just respond? That I have a choice to respond or react. My choice. My choice. The question is marriage a design for life? It's a design for some people's lives. It's a design for some lives. It's not a design for others. It's really up to the individual. Marriage was a design for my life, and then divorce became a design for my life. Not once, but more than once. So, and so it is. So with that, then, in gratitude and in love, I am going to give up the mic. Thanks, family.
Thank you so much, Zulma.